Good morning. Muy buenos dias. I hope you are well, staying positive and focused on what you can control. Bienvenidos. Welcome to Cafecito con Ace. Drop in and use the chat section to engage, to network, to ask your questions. Share with us where you're tuning in from in the chat and use the comment section to network and to connect with one another. And to ask your questions. My name is Patricia Mota. I serve as president and CEO of ACE, a national nonprofit organization headquartered in Chicago, whose mission since 1982 is to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the community of talent, providing the insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. A few key things before we jump in with our conversation with our special guest today is that for those of you that are looking for your next career opportunity, to leverage all of ACE's Career Center resources that you could find on the website. And a specific event that's coming up is on June 11th, and participating companies include Rocket Mortgage, American Family Insurance. And so you could find all of that information on the website. It'll be dropped in here on the chat. Make sure to engage, leverage that as a networking opportunity, and the various resources and events that ACE has throughout the year. So please check that out, reach out, engage for those of you that are looking for your next opportunity. And lastly, I know many of you will be joining us today for the virtual summit. And so looking forward to engaging with you this afternoon, later today with some of the most popular workshops and speakers that we had from our in-person events. So looking forward to that as well. Good morning, Penny. I see my colleague Adriana. Please engage in the chat, leverage this time to connect. Jason, good morning. Welcome. And so our special guest today is Rodrigo Remolina, who is the chief of the advocacy office at the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, or as many of us refer to DCFS. Say that a couple times quickly. I'm sure it can be challenging to say. Rodrigo, good morning. How are you today? We're super excited to have you.
Buenos dias, Patricia. I am doing great this morning, and thank you so much for having me on.
We're super excited for this conversation. That we talked a little bit that we've had some of your colleagues. We got to feature a lot of the great work and leaders that you have within DCFS. And so we're excited to also share your story, the great work that you all are leading. Pero first thing is first, here in Cafecito con Ace, or Coffee with Ace, is what is your morning beverage of choice, or how do you like your cafecito prepared?
I definitely like my cafecito with cream and a little bit of sugar. It's part of my morning routine. I sip it for 15-20 minutes while I catch up on news, sports scores, or just plan my daily events.
Wonderful. Cafe. Those of you tuning in, why don't you share with us, what are you sipping on this morning? How do you like your cafecito prepared? Share with us and the folks that you're engaging with in the chat. Rodrigo, so one of the things that I love about not just Cafecito con Ace, but a lot of the events and storytelling that we offer throughout the years to share folks like yourself. Like, how did you get to where you are? Tell us a little bit about your cultural background and your current role.
Sure. My cultural background, my family's from Colombia, South America. And I was born and raised in Illinois. And at the time, we didn't have very many relatives that lived in Illinois, didn't have very many Latino friends. So I remember fondly spending my summers in Colombia as a child growing up and enjoying the conversations, listening to the music and cumbias and vallenatos. Eating the foods, arepas, empanadas, buñuelos, and just having great conversations and enjoying the culture and the sights and sounds with relatives and friends in Colombia. We didn't have extended family.
I know we got a lot of Colombians a part of the ACE network, so let's hear, for those tuning in, your cultural background as well, los colombianos in the house. And Rodrigo, you're going to tell us a little bit about how you got to your current role.
Yeah, I'm the administrator of the advocacy office, and I have been with DCFS for 28 years. I started off as a call floor screener at the hotline, at the Child Abuse and Neglect. And I initially took that role simply because I had heard from a friend that they needed Spanish-speaking workers there. I really didn't know a whole lot about it, and so I applied, and lo and behold, I was able to get in, and had not really planned on a career within DCFS, but here I am 28 years later, and still enjoying it.
That's amazing. What a trajectory to start from where, at the very beginning to now being in a leadership role, and really making a bigger impact on the work that DCFS is doing, and very meaningful work. So for those of us that may not be familiar, that's joining us, can you share a little bit more about the mission of the Department of Children and Family Services and the impact that it has on communities, which I know is a huge impact?
Well, absolutely. I'm sure, like I mentioned, most people are just familiar with the hotline for DCFS. And that's where anyone can call and make a report of suspected abuse or neglect. But there's a whole other side to DCFS that people may not be aware of. We provide case management services to connect families with support and resources to help keep kids safe at home or with their relatives. And the bottom line is that we want to ensure safety for children and keep families together if at all possible. I'm sorry, what was the other part of that question?
Yeah, the mission and the impact that it has on the communities.
It has a strong impact. I mean, these are situations where we really have to get involved and get to know families in the community, and really make an impression on them and try to give them the support that they need. To help them, at times survive through difficult experiences and move to become successful, parts of the community. So
huge impact and making sure that children and their families, as you said, are safe, are taken care of, and that are together. And I think that's so critical. And one of the things that we, with our partnership with DCFS, is we aligned with the ASEM mission to ensure folks have opportunities, access to meaningful careers. And so why should recent graduates, so I know we've had a flurry, and even within the ASEC community, a flurry of graduations that have happened, that are coming up, of recent college graduates. And so why should they consider child welfare, DCFS, as a powerful, purpose-driven career path?
Yeah, I would have to say it's an emotionally rewarding career. I'll say also that it's emotionally challenging at times. But we're not trying to sell something or looking at profit margins or how we can help a company make more money. Child welfare offers a purpose, responsibility, and ability to make a real impact with children and families in Illinois. Currently, DCFS is evolving like never before, and the energy here is strong. We have created a new prevention arm, implementing new technologies and programs, and have reduced caseloads so our social workers can spend more time getting to know the families and less time working on administrative functions.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So a bit more time on the meaningful type of the work versus administration, which I think a lot of organizations, employers are looking for ways to do that with the rise of technology. I know with the rise of AI, for example. So curious if that's part of that work, or you guys are looking at further embedding that piece.
Absolutely. The technology piece has really come along strong for DCFS. We have programs now, AI supported programs that will help staff. You can ask a quick question as to how do I do this, or how does this normally occur? And the AI can provide you that information. Same thing with our policy division. As you can imagine, we have a lot of policy and procedure that leads how we operate and how we do our daily functions. And there's an AI component of that where you can ask any kind of question and it'll provide you the most recent and up-to-date policy and procedure guidelines so that you can follow that as well.
That's great. That's great. I know we've got some of our colleagues here that are posting the links to access opportunities, employment opportunities at DCFS in the comments section. So those of you that are tuning in, joining us, if you have any questions, feel free to start dropping them in the chat. Good morning, Nikita. I also see we've got folks that are sharing their iced coffee and type of coffee in the chat. So continue to engage, ask questions, chat with one another. One of the things, Rodrigo, and this goes with my question, was how do you ensure that folks are prepared in terms of the skills that can translate into the child welfare work, but also we talked a little bit before we jumped on is the need to be able to develop internal talent, right? And ensure that they're getting the proper resources, networks, connections, sponsors, mentors, right? So that they can continue to elevate within the organization. So if you could touch on those two pieces, I think it's critical. And it sounds like you all have some great resources in place as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. Having been with the department for so long, I think a lot of our new college graduates are coming on board with a lot of skills and abilities that I didn't have when I started. And that's, the technology, the implementation of technology. Most of college graduates now have grown up with computers and with laptops and cell phones and apps and knowledge and use of social media, all kinds of social media that are immense tools in the work environment. For example, being able to dictate notes, immediately find resources, or help families on, fill out applications online, or even just contacting resources and setting up appointments. Those are all things that you can do almost instantly, whereas you couldn't do those things in the past. Or at least not without a lot of extra work. So today's graduates bring all of those skills with them already. And then, of course, they have the other piece of it where they've learned effective communication, problem solving, organization and teamwork, and then the cultural awareness that we didn't have back when I started. Graduates from diverse backgrounds can find jobs within DCFS, whether it's a social work degree. I started with a sociology degree and have progressed, but you can start with a psychology degree, public health, criminal justice, all of those related areas can bring valuable skills to the child welfare environment.
Multiple pathways, multiple degrees, right, that are transferable into the industry. And then as you mentioned, is that folks, even students, I mean, we talk to our students all the time as well that are also involved on their own campuses or working, multiple jobs or involved in different clubs. And those are all leadership skills and communication skills that are transferable into various industries and this one as well in particular. How about folks that are currently in there? I know we talked a little bit about Salud. Like, can you share a little bit more about your experience as you climbed up the ranks? You said, hey, there's a need for support so that we can help others also continue to climb the rank within the organization.
Absolutely. I started with DCFS, like I said before, at the hotline. I really didn't have any goal or, specific interest in, pursuing a career with DCFS. However, that was my door in. And once I got in there, I started learning a lot about the department. And I realized that, the hotline is like the front door of DCFS where all the calls come in. And from there, you figure out, what services are needed or, what kind of degree of involvement we're going to have with those families. And then that involvement gets, you send out that information in the case to an investigator out in the field or a caseworker that's going to go out and provide services. Well, the longer I worked at the hotline, the more I wanted to learn and expand my knowledge about those other divisions. The nice thing about it is at the hotline, I could start there and I can move over and I have the flexibility to go into other roles. And so I did that as an investigator. I could have gone into casework. I could have gone into licensing if I wanted to, or something else. But there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of movement that you can do. And all of that is going to expand your knowledge and your ability to sort of learn how get the bigger picture and learn how DCFS functions overall. After going out and doing investigations for a little bit, I had a great opportunity through Upward Mobility Program to go back and get my master's in social work. Mm-hmm. And I used that Upward Mobility Program, did that, and was able to get a job in the advocacy office, which to me was another opportunity to learn and expand my knowledge, because the advocacy office deals with all kinds of issues involving DCFS. It could be a call about an investigation. It could be a call about a caseworker or a visitation or setting up a meeting. Or it could be in regards to a foster care license or an appeal issue. We really run the gamut on what we see and do within the advocacy office. We touch just about every other division. And for me, that was intriguing. And I saw that as a great opportunity to learn a lot more about the department. Mm-hmm. From that point, being in the advocacy office, after about 10 years, I had the opportunity to move into the role of an administrator. And I have been in that role now for about 12 years. I hadn't planned on it. I will say I enjoy supervising staff and helping them and educating them and sort of helping them learn more about the department the same way that I did, and maybe providing a little bit more guidance than what I think I had. But it's a great opportunity to see them expand their knowledge and effectively collaborate with all of the different divisions in DCFS. In this kind of work, you can't do it alone. You have to work with others. And I think that when we know a lot about what we're doing and we collaborate well with others, we can, in the end, create a better efficiency and be more helpful to the children and families that we serve.
That's amazing. You shared a lot about how you were open to learning and that sense of curiosity that opened doors and continuously open doors that I think is critical to. I am a big believer of ongoing learning, and I think that that's also having curiosity that opens the doors to immense opportunities, not just within your organization, but elsewhere as well. And I think that that's something that was consistent as you continue to move up. And I think many of us, and I could say as well, is that when you were a little more hands-on in the day-to-day, and then you get into a role where it's you're influencing that for others. It's different, but you're making a bigger impact. And so, thank you for all of those years of what you've been leading at DCFS. I know we have one of your colleagues, Penny, and she posted an upcoming, I think it's a virtual webinar that's coming up on June 11th. And so encouraging folks that are tuning in, whether you're listening live or you're listening to the recording, make sure to jump into the chat and engage with these resources that are being shared. So Rodrigo, how about advice that you would give to the next generation of leaders who want to make a difference in their communities through careers like the ones that you've had and have as you continue to lead and influence today?
I would say don't hesitate to try to learn and to get a new experience. You may not always find the right job or the right role initially, but that doesn't mean that experience could still help you getting to that other spot and that other role and that other experience. I'll say this from my own experience. When I was working at the hotline, I had many different supervisors that we worked with there. And at one point I saw an individual who went and got his master's degree and became a supervisor at the hotline, but to me was not the best kind of supervisor. And I remember my motivation. I had not wanted to be a supervisor. My motivation was simply thinking I can do better than him. One why not go back to school and get my master's and see what I can do? So I would say my advice for folks is don't sell yourself short. Give yourself the opportunity to experience things, try out different roles, and then see what works for you. There's a lot that you can learn. Obviously, the more that you learn about an agency, the more you're going to learn about yourself and about your abilities. Yeah, don't sell yourself short and kind of keep striving, keep that curiosity alive, because there's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot of mobility within the department where you can go up and you can help others and bring them up to the same roles and the positions that you may be in. And to that effect, I mean, we have something now that's called Salud, which is supporting aspiring Latinos United Development. And it's a leadership program for Latinos within DCFS. Specifically, we have started a new mentorship program where we can mentor with newer Latinos that have started, mentor with them one-on-one and kind of provide them the guidance and the knowledge that we have of the department as a whole, and help them sort of move up the ranks into those other leadership roles. You know, folks like myself, we're not going to be around forever. And we want to make sure that, you know, there's people moving up when we move out that are going to be able to handle it and do just as well, if not better, than what we did.
That's amazing, and I think that that's something that not too many, whether it's agencies or in organizations in general, that are doing those type of internal type of development and mentorship, to be able to really cultivate that talent pool, not only ensure that they're engaged and retained, but to your point, are able to move up within the organization, you know, try other opportunities so that they can continue to learn about the agency overall and be a better leader for it, right? And you talked a lot about that. We'll get ready to wrap up here. I know we've got the chat. If folks have any additional comment, I know there's a lot of comments, but in terms of questions or anything, so to drop them in the chat. And then, you know, I'll ask you this last question, Rodrigo, regarding what you're most hopeful for, and perhaps like the future about, you know, our partnerships like what we have with DCFS and with ASE.
I think I'm really hopeful, and I know that this is going to happen. The Latino community is growing, and there's more connection and more camaraderie for Latinos in Illinois. When I started out, as I mentioned earlier, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of connection to other Latinos within in Illinois or even within DCFS, and it's something that has definitely grown within the department. There's a much stronger connection. There's a much stronger support. I now am fortunate that I have a whole slew of people that I can call up and ask for support and guidance, or just talk to about, you know, the experiences that we all have as Latinos within the department. That's something that's going to continue to improve and grow, and I really look forward to seeing how that develops within the state.
That's amazing. I've also seen that happening a lot more. I know we were just talking about Latino Unity Day that just happened in Springfield. That's been happening for years, but I think just in general, there's a lot more conversations amongst organizations. And then I'm happy to hear that that's happening also within DCFS. And comunidad, community is everything these days. And the importance of that cultural relevancy and cultural connections is critical, because the more that we're able to connect and with folks that have similar stories or backgrounds or experiences, the more we can see ourselves in them, and especially as we advance into positions of leadership, of influence and power, which are needed now more than ever before. So Rodrigo, mil gracias. Thank you for all of you that are tuning in. This video will stay here so you can continue to engage. Share with those that you think could benefit from this conversation, or perhaps opportunities also at IDCFS. So make sure to share. And thank you again, Rodrigo, for taking the time to share your insights, your background. Thank you for all that you do. And for everyone, hasta la próxima. Until next time, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.